Welcome to the Health and Safety Podcast. I am Michael Wong, founder and executive director of the Physician-Patient Alliance for Health and Safety. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Mark McEwen. Now, many of you may know Mark as a reporter for CBS. However, what you might not know is that he has atrial fibrillation, which is a common heart arrhythmia, and suffered a stroke and has gone through extensive rehabilitation. So Mark, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad to have you on.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. Mike, it's almost like not a dream, but a bad nightmare. You don't plan on having a stroke. You don't plan on Afib. And here I am. But you know what? These are the cards I've been dealt. I always say, let's play cards.
So when you were told you had Afib, did you think before that you had been dealt these cards, or was it like a shock out of the blue?
It was more than that, Mike. I didn't know what Afib was. I never heard of it before. And all of a sudden, it's an irregular heartbeat in my case, and I take a medication for it. But it was a surprise to me when the doctor said atrial fibrillation. Again, I never heard of it before. Now I really know what it is.
And so what would you tell to folks? I mean, should they be, talking to the doctor about it? Maybe, obviously folks that listen to our podcast are clinicians. Should really the doctor be saying to his or her patient, we should get you tested and see whether you have AFib or not? What would you say?
I would go, Mike, to answer your question, my answers are both of those. Physicians should say to their patients, you should get tested. And the patient should say, always say, awareness is a big thing. Be aware of things out there. And you should go in and ask your doctor about AFib, about how you can be tested, because the old saying, Mike, it's better to be safe than sorry. And AFib can be treated if you know you have it. But if you ignore it, man, like a bad monster, it can creep up on you and change your whole life. And in some cases, you can be gone.
Yeah. So what would you say to folks? There's this sort of like, it's not going to happen to me syndrome.
Right.
I mean, it's going to happen to the other guy. I'm okay, but he's going to get it. We've all seen that. We've all believed that to some extent, And what would you say to folks like that?
Mike, I thought, like you just said, bad things always happen to someone else. And then one day, guess what, my friend? They happen to me. And I always say, you rarely, if ever, hear lucky and stroke in the same sentence. I've been lucky. Michael, I was in a coma. I was in intensive care for a week. I was in the hospital for a month. Rehab for a year. I had no idea that even that this was out there and that it would affect me. So if I had no idea, I'm here to scream from the top of the highest trees, go check it out. Better to say, no, you don't have to worry about that. But if you do, again, it's something that can be corrected and you can live with it. But again, you have to be vigilant about your health. And Mike, as you get older, bugaboos come out of the woodwork. When I was younger, who cared? I was busy chasing girls and, and dancing at discos and all that. But as you get older, I always say the armor that you have around you as you are younger gets thinner and thinner. You have to help that armor help you.
So, during COVID, a lot of folks have had their doctor's appointments canceled, rescheduled.
Yeah.
What's been your experience with? I mean, obviously, seeing a physician regularly is important. How have you found doing that during this COVID period?
Well, like everyone else, Mike, I was afraid, scared to go to the doctor. You know, I had my medication. I could have it, when it ran out. I go to CVS. They would call my physician, who would fill up with my medication. But I had to go in. Had to go in. Mike, it's hard for people to go in, but I'll say this. Doctors' offices might be one of the most safest places to go because they're busy wiping down things and wear your mask and wash your hands and all that, but they are on the forefront of being safe. If you go to, I don't want to say Home Depot, or if you go to Target, okay, it's a bit different than going to your doctor's office. They're more aware of safety about going to the doctor's office. I would tell people, don't be afraid to go into your doctor's office.
And understandably, folks are afraid.
Yeah,
You're safe at home. If you don't go out, you're not going to get it.
right.
And if I go out and I come back, I could either get it or maybe I could infect my other family members that are living with me. So,
Right.
I mean, those fears are completely understandable.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
Well,
you mentioned going to the CVS and getting your prescription filled. Now, adherence rates for folks with chronic illnesses are shockingly only half, 50%, which means that 1 out of 2 folks are taking it, but also 1 out of 2 folks are not taking it.
right.
And so how do you remember to make sure you're taking your medication, or
Uh,
why do you want to take it continuously?
well, Michael, having a stroke scared me. It scared me. I wouldn't wish a stroke on my worst enemy. You're sitting there, it's like being stuck in a block of ice. Your brain can handle things, but it's hard to speak. It's hard to move. It's hard. It changes everything. So in God, it's been a while since I've had my stroke, but I very rarely forget to take my medication because you have to be on guard. You have to be, I don't know, you have to be, again, I used the word earlier, vigilant. So I have that case where it says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I put all my pills. So every morning I make sure I take a handful of pills, and with my blood thinner, I have to take it twice a day. So I have a smaller Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right next to my bed. So after dinner, I take the other pill for my Afib blood thinner. But you can. There are a couple of things you can't forget. You can't forget your anniversary. You can't forget your wife's birthday.
Not if you want to stay married for long.
Exactly, exactly. And you can't forget your medication. You can't do that. So you can forget what day it is. You can forget to take the dog out, but you cannot try hard not to forget your medication.
Yeah. Now we all get complacent, though. I mean, or you just forget, or you forgot to take it yesterday, and you're still alive today.
Yeah,
And it's that sort of complacency, which I think can be difficult and understandable, right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
I agree. But again, you're dealing with your health. you're dealing with your longevity. You're dealing with your being safe. So again, you can forget what day it is. You can forget to bring your car in from the curb to the driveway. You can forget all that, but you can't forget your medication. And if you do, forget just today. Don't forget tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say to folks? I mean, should they, how vigilant should they be? I mean, what would you warn them about?
Well, Mike, I don't know what happens if you forget your blood thinner 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Because I've never been there. I've never been there. The most I've ever forgotten is not taking a pill in the morning, but maybe at night. I sit up and go, oh no, I forgot. And I run. But my advice would be to be part of the solution. Let it be part of the solution, because you don't want it to be your forgetfulness be part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. So if sounds like there's sort of two messages you'd give to folks. Get tested, make sure you either do or don't have it. And if you do have it, make sure you're following your doctor's orders and take your medication as he or she tells you to, and try not to forget. We're all forgetful, but it happens.
Mike, I'll go a step further. If you smoke, stop. Smoking is bad for you. If you're heavy, obese, it's hard to lose weight. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's hard to, but try to do that. And exercise does not mean joining a gym. Go for a walk. Last time I looked, walking was free. And so, and you don't have to walk 10 miles. You walk to the end of your driveway, then walk to the end of the street, then walk around the block. I have a dog, Lola, who I say she loves to go on walks. I save her life and she saves mine because I go with her. And walking, Mike, being a stroke survivor, I can't run like I used to, but I can walk. I can walk. And you have to be, kind of aware of to be healthy and to do all that to make the odds work in your favor.
That's great advice, Mark. So thanks so much for being on this podcast, and hopefully folks will heed your advice and either get tested, or if they're a clinician or doctor, make sure their patients get tested, because obviously Afib is something which most folks don't know about. You didn't know about it at all.
No, I didn't. But never forget, I said it before, it can be controlled. It can, you can lessen the impact of it. Mike, nothing is a sure thing. But if you have a blood thinner and you are kind of combating AFib, you can make the odds work in your favor.
Great advice, Mark. Yeah, it's playing that odds and making sure the odds are in your favor, as you say. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining Mark McEwen and I on this podcast. Please subscribe to the Health and Safety Podcast and join us on our next podcast. In the meantime, take care of your health, get tested for AFib, and don't forget to take your medications as prescribed. And take care. See you next time.